The Railway Series. Terry, the Forgotten Engine. Written and performed by Christopher Birtwistle. A few months later, Terry came out of the works for testing. He was in a raw, light grey undercoat for the tests. All the tests went well, and he even whistled to Gordon as he passed by. As the work diesel moved him back into the workshop for painting, Terry spoke up.
Oh, excuse me. Is it okay if I don't get an overcoat? I like the grey.
But the workman just laughed.
Oh no, Sir Topham-Hatt's orders. You ought to have a coat of the Northwestern's finest blue. Oh, that's very kind, said Terry, but there was a soft sadness behind these words. The works diesel saw this and spoke up once the workman had gotten started. You okay? She asked kindly. Terry had never spoken to a diesel before, but he didn't fear them like some engines did. He knew they weren't the ones to choose to replace steam, so he spoke to her with ease. Oh, yes, it's just... He paused a second and chuckled. Oh, it seems so silly after all Sir Topham has done for me, but... I'm just not really a Northwestern engine. I used to wear pure black in the old days, and the grey reminds me of it, that's all. The works diesel listened kindly. She wasn't a diesel of many words, but she understood, and Terry felt that. A few days later, he steamed out of the works in a smart blue livery and was greeted by the Fat Controller. Ah, Terry, how do you feel? Oh, fantastic, sir, and eager to work. That's a good engine. Do you mind working as a station pilot? Oh, that'd be grand, sir, said Terry, though secretly he did long to stretch his wheels, but he didn't want to be rude. When Terry arrived at Knapford, the big station at the end of the line, he saw the yard next to the station was a mess. It seems no one's gotten a good sort out here in a while. Not to worry though. He started shunting both coaches and trucks into their proper places with ease. Even though he was old, he was strong and he managed to work with no issues. Soon he heard a familiar whistle and a familiar voice. Hello, Terry. Nice to see you on the rails, called James as he pulled up to a signal by the yard set to danger with a passenger train. Nice to see you at last, James. Nice to have a station pilot here for a change. We had some diesel from the mainland, but he wasn't much use. Though they're not all like that. Oh, that's good to know. Well, be seeing you soon, James. I better get back to my shunting. Just as the signal dropped, Terry chuckled. Oh, and watch out for any ghosts out there, James. James just blushed and scurried off. Terry worked hard all week, and everyone seemed to like him. Everyone, that is, but Gordon. Everyone knows industrial engines are not proper engines, he would say. They were built to push trucks and nothing more. No matter how many times Terry tried to prove he was a proper engine, Gordon would not listen. Gordon weak and insisted he was just another tank engine getting too much attention from the Fat Controller. Terry didn't mind. He was sure Gordon would get over it. However, he did wish he could prove he was as good as any other engine. One day, Terry was waiting with some coaches at the big station. There were only 4 coaches to stay as part of Gordon's Express due to a lack of passengers. Station pilots sit uncoupled behind the back of bigger engines so they can give them a push to help them start off. Gordon backed down onto his train and didn't speak to Terry at all. Instead, he just watched the road bridge as the passengers boarded. Above the station was a small road bridge, where cars and lorries passed, and Gordon counted the cars passing by to pass the time. Just as everyone was on board, it happened. A lorry came onto the bridge much too fast, and it didn't see a car coming across towards it. It swerved and went into the side of the bridge and burst through. It gave Gordon a scare as it stopped. Its front end hung above Gordon's tender in the first coach. It teetered precariously and threatened to fall. If it did, some passengers and Gordon's crew could get hurt. Help! I don't have enough steam built up, cried Gordon. There was a bump from the coach as he heard Terry's whistle. Oh, hang on, I'll push the train.
What can an industrial engine do?
Oh! Started Gordon sadly when he felt his wheels start moving. Smoke bellowed from Terry's funnel.
I can do it. I can do it,
panted Terry, as bit by bit the train moved forward at a steady pace.
You can! Go on, Terry!
Called Gordon in a newfound support. The lorry tivered, but Terry kept pushing. Just as the last coach cleared the lorry, it fell, right down to Terry's side tank. Ah! He cried out in pain as his side tank tore and steam flew everywhere. When he had cooled down, the Fat Controller came to see him. Terry was a mess. His left side tank had a big hole in it about a metre long, cut from where the front of the lorry had hit him, and his wheels on his right side looked damaged from the weight.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir,
started Terry, exhausted, but Gordon cut him off.
No, sir, I am sorry. Terry saved me and my passengers even though I was rude to him.
But the Fat Controller smiled.
I know this was neither of your faults. It was the lorry driver's. However, Terry, I am very proud of you. A certain Diesel told me you'd prefer a different coat of paint, and your driver says you're a hard worker but could use some harder work. So I will send you back to my works to be repaired, and after that I would like you to run the newly opened Great Waterton branch line.
Terry was speechless, and he could only smile.